Welcome to Lesson 4.4. Your results may vary. Hi folks, welcome to Lesson 4.4. I'll be going over what range is and how standard deviation works in this quick lesson. There is no truth to the allegation that statisticians are mean. They are just your standard normal deviates. My name's Desiree and I'll be your host for this set of slides. Our lesson first goes over range. This is classified as the difference between the largest and the smallest values in a set. First, we're going to find the median and range with these temperatures in the blue box, and any observations. First, you would put the 12 months in order for the two vacation spots. The two spots that I picked were St. Lucia and the Virgin Islands. After the 12 months are listed in order, we'd split those in half. You'll notice the yellow on the left and the white, so that's where they're split evenly. The median is going to be the two set of numbers in the middle added together, which for the Virgin Islands, it would be 87 plus 88 divided by 2, and that gives us an average there of 87.5 degrees. The range is the highest minus the lowest. In that example, it would be 89 minus 85, which would give us 4 degrees for the British Island, the Virgin Islands. The exact same steps are going to be done for St. Lucia, which is already finished, and it equals out to a median of 67.5 degrees and a range of 53 degrees. Jarvis, which island would you obviously want to be at?
The Virgin Island.
That's right, because it's usually typically, it looks like it's in the 80s throughout most of the year, where when you look at St. Lucia, you'll see one month is around 38 degrees. I imagine that's in December or January, and it just goes up from there. So that's easy peasy. Next is standard deviation. This is defined as an amount calculated to show the degree of deviation for a group. Computing standard deviation is a little tedious, but easy. The first step is finding the mean. So of 4 weights. So the 4 weights are the 70, 73, the 58, and the 60. And those are of pumpkins, all different sizes. They're big pumpkins. And you divide that by 4 to find the mean. Next, you would subtract the weights from the mean, which for the first example would be 70 minus the 65.25, which is 4.75. Next, you would square those results to get a positive number, which is the 22.5625 for that first example. And you would do that for all the pumpkins. Next, you would add all those up and divide by 1 less. So there were 4 pumpkins, so you would just divide it by 3. This gives us the result to square root, which comes out to 7.37 pounds. It just shows the variation or sizes from each picture. In the last few minutes, we went over what the definitions are and how to find the range as well as the median from a couple islands and how to find standard deviation of a set of numbers. You should now understand how fast and easy it is to write out spaces to compute these formulas. These are just some common questions and answers related to standard deviation. And that's all I've got. Thank you so much for attending my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it and find it very easy to understand range and standard deviation. And please welcome Jarvis up next. And he'll be continuing the same conversation.
Okay, my name is Jarvis Reese. Welcome to Statistically Speaking. Your results may vary. Okay, so I heard that some teachers use grades on the bell curve, and I never knew what that meant. I realize now that I'm thankful this practice isn't in places very often anymore because it was spread out all student scores that was average of 75%. Okay, and I'll be talking to you about comparing data sets and standard deviation, as well as how to calculate standard deviation. Okay. During this presentation, you will be seeing two sets of numbers and how they are compared, and many things can be done with data sets. But in this case, I will be figuring the averages and standard deviations and drawing conclusions about both. The two things that we'll be talking about are how to compare two sets of data, especially when using standard deviation. Then I will show you how to calculate standard deviation for a given set of data. The mean is the average of any set of numbers. The data set is the set of numbers in any given topic. Standard deviation is the distance away from the average the data set spreads. And the variables are the numbers in the data set because they are different and change the outcome of the calculation. Okay, here goes. I have two sets of test scores from two different classes that took the same test. These are the two different data sets that will be used for my presentation. Class A test and Class B test. Class A has a mean score of 86.2. And Class B has a mean score of 85.7. This means that Class A scored higher on average than Class B did. The standard deviation for Class B is smaller, which means that their scores aren't as spread out as Class A's. We can interpret this as Class B having more consistent scores. Okay. Okay, you see that? Class A has a higher mean. You see that? Class B. Class B. Okay, we have, to calculate standard deviation, there is a large formula that can be broken down into simple few steps. This is the formula that y'all can use, but if you don't want to do this, it can be broken down to like simple steps. I'm going over step by step. Okay, and the first step is you find the mean of the data set. So that means you add up all the numbers and you divide it. You add up all these test scores and then you divide it by how many numbers there are. How many test scores were there? Oh, let's see. Okay, I use Class A test scores for this. Okay, then the second step is subtract. Okay, after you get the mean of the data set, okay, you want to subtract the mean for each value and square each result. Okay, you can see where I did that at, where the test score is right here. The test score is right here, and I subtracted the mean. From it. And third, when you find the mean or n-1 for all those differences, here we add them and all got 838.6. Then divided by 9, our result is 93.18. Okay, then after that, finally you take the square root. You take the square root of that number. That is the standard deviation. The standard deviation for this set is 96.5. I'm not sure if y'all got that, but it's 96.5. Okay, to conclude standard deviation, it shows how to spread out numbers of a data set. Spread out numbers of a data set are the average. This can be helpful for teachers, athletes, and most business people. And if you don't understand, if you didn't get what standard deviation was, standard deviation is basically how many consistent scores that's close to the mean, like how many test scores was so consistent to the mean, I guess. Yeah, to the mean. And when looking at the standard deviation and how far it is spread out, you can make interpretations about how closely related the data is. Like I just said, you can also see how much the variables can change the outcome. And it looks like the next group, and in conclusion, it looks like the next group will be changing pace from standard deviation to normal distribution. Thank you.